Frugal Force. Once again, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty for another episode of Road Rage. Once again, for the new people that subscribe, thank you, by the way, for subscribing. And for the ones that have stuck with me, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Road Rage is videos that are pretty much recorded while I'm driving, walking, getting exercise, whatever, just on the move. And today I'm driving to work this morning. Again, that's where most of them end up from. And I put my phone hands-free set here and just jabber. And the goal of it is to generate a discussion, about what's going on, going on in my mind or whatever of that nature going on currently, and just generating a nice community discussion. And the last Road Rage I did, I talked about comic books not really being a good investment tool. and great comments back and things. And one of the comments, I think it was from a Jordan Lovett. Sorry, I don't have this in front of me because I'm not looking at the screens if I drive safe. I think it was Jordan Lovett. He mentioned an index fund. And that's what spawned this video. We're talking about, better investments than comic books, to be honest, because comic books is a real hit and miss. It's probably not, it is not, let's just be clear, not the safest long-term investment. Well, anyway, this thought of the index fund made me think, maybe there should be an index fund, if you will, or index barometer for comic books. We all know that the major two, DC and Marvel, make up the majority. So if Marvel goes, it's really going to create a massive opening. It's going to be very risky. Would that shut down the comic industry, or would the openings take care of it? There's a lot of questions there and a lot of speculation. And just like I think right now, Marvel personally, I think is farming out stuff to IDW. I think they're testing the waters if they want to get out of publishing and just pretty much let other people handle their IPs. But that's another story altogether. Well, anyway, so I was thinking an index fund for comics. And for anybody that doesn't know what an index fund is, an index fund is based on just that. It's based on key companies that the stock market uses as a barometer to measure the overall stock market. So we call, and then what there is just called index funds. Those mutual funds and things have those stocks in it. So whatever is being used to monitor to the market, which usually puts you at market average. Actually, not usually, that is what puts you at market average. It's how you measure the stock market. Is it doing well or below, based on things like those index funds and how they're going for longevity. So let's talk about that. Comic books for index funds. So therefore, since the big two represent most of comic books, we're going to want to stick with mostly DC and Marvel. But we do want to sprinkle a little bit of independent in there, just to make sure we're covering that section as well for our fund, for our barometer for comic books. So, of course, we need to start with the big chip ones, and that would be Batman for DC and Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man that is, for Marvel. Now, I'm going to go with, why don't we just go with a 10 funds, okay, because there is 10 fund barometers. So we're going to go with just 10. There's ones that are more accurate, like S&P, with hundreds of them in it. But we're only going to go 10 here, okay? So there we go. We got Spider-Man and Batman to start the measure a lot at the top. Why don't we throw in an indie that's doing well too, and we'll go with The Walking Dead. So that gets us an indie there that's also going strong. So that's 3. Now let's get a couple mid cards in there. How about like Captain America and Green Lantern? Okay, those are ones that aren't going to be your highest sellers, but they've been somewhat consistently decent. And then they have gone up and down, of course. That gives us 5. Let's get a couple more mid cards in there. How about the Flash? And let's see, we need something else. It would be 6. For a 7th, what would be probably a good Marvel one? Let's see, 7. We need to Iron Man. Okay, yeah, Iron Man. So that gives us 7. So we need 3 more. Let's see here. Let's just say we're going to take something from like Dark Horse or something that's not a real big seller. So we'll throw one Dark Horse comic in there. I don't know which one off the top of my head. That leaves us with 2 more to go. And how about Avengers and either Avengers or Fantastic Four. Let's go with Fantastic Four, okay? Because we've already included some Avengers characters that are going to help carry those books. So we're going to go Fantastic Four. We need Injustice League of America for DC. There we go. There's a barometer, 10 comics there. I didn't pick exactly one from Dark Horse, but we said we'll throw a Dark Horse one in there too. That should give us 10. And if we monitored those, I wonder how well that would monitor how well the industry and comics is selling, much like an index fund. It probably would. Now, granted, here's what you do then, is if it doesn't represent very well the market, you can pull in and change different ones as well. So, of course, without sitting there with all the numbers right in front of me, some might also argue that I need to throw in probably another lower tier comic book, but that's why I threw in the Dark Horse ones. It gives us another independent representation, gives you 2 out of the 10, gives you 20% representation with more of the independent style, one that's selling pretty well, one that's going to be a pretty lower performer. So I think that covers it pretty well. I know I didn't throw in any IDW or things like that, but I mean, IDW is just known to be crap right now anyway. So I mean, that's something that could be considered throwing in instead of Dark Horse, maybe an IDW book, and use those to measure the standing of comic books. So that's my thoughts. A barometer for an index, if you will, for comic books. So my question to you is, should it be a bigger than 10, or is 10 sufficient? And the other question is, what comic should I not have put in there, and what comic should I put in there if you didn't like my choices for the index fund? I'd like to hear your thoughts on what would serve the comic industry well. What would be a good barometer for it? Okay, I don't know. I think it's sort of a cool thought. So thank you for those comments on the last video. I greatly appreciate it. That's what spawned this video and this topic and idea, sort of the back and forth I love about the Road Rage series. All right, well, if you enjoyed these videos, oh, by the way, before I get too involved in that, before I get into the shield, I'm going to shield some more. I do have some projects on the way. The comic book, right now, my script writer is still going over it pretty heavily. He's probably going to beat me down with all the things I shouldn't have done. So script writer is working on it. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes next. The other part I want to mention is I'm working on some other things to help give back, as well as you give to the Frugal Force. So for Frugal Force support, I'm working with an artist right now on designing t-shirts. I think it's been long overdue. Shirts, I don't know, maybe mugs. I'm not sure yet. Once we get the designs done, he's working on all that for me. So great. I'm not going to mention him yet unless he wants me to. Once he does, I'll say that. So I'm working with that to design some products for shirts, mugs, things like that. Who knows what will come out of it. And the goal is to use that money too, so people can get something too, so they can get those shirts and mugs if they want, so they can have something, especially before Christmas time. And then that money will be used to help continue to fund the comic book, because I'm still got to save up and keep saving up to get the artist taken care of, because I'm going to have to get the pencils, of course, the coloring, the inking, the lettering, all that I'm going to have to pay for. So my goal, I think what I want to do is I want to have this thing done before I throw it up on any kind of crowdfunding thing to hit or anything of that nature. I think I want to get it done first, or be super close. I'm working with and talking with a lot of people, because I want to make sure I do it right. I want to make sure that when I do this, I get it out on time. I learn from their past mistakes, and I mean that in a nice way, because some of this is treading new ground for a lot of people. And we've been communicating, hey, what's the best for this, that, to keep the cost down, because I don't want my book to gouge people. I want them to be able to get it and have it at a decent price. And I want them to see it as a value for their money. And I know I'm not a big name in the comic industry for writing or anything, so I don't have these huge expectations that it's, going to pull a Jawbreakers or a Cyberfrog kind of money at all. And that's not really what I'm looking for. I just, it's a cool idea that came up to me, and I want to share it. So, and I hope everyone else likes it. So I thank you again for listening to this video. Please be sure to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, give it a thumbs up. Evidently that matters, I guess. So help it out, because everybody's been telling me I don't show up in searches. They're not getting notifications and things like that. I might be somewhat shadow banned, or I'm not figuring out the metric here for the Google, algorithm, if you will. So if you can help with that, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want to make sure you're getting notified for the videos, I put them all on Patreon. So you go to the Patreon link down below in the info bar, and you can join the Patreon for as little as $1 a month, where you can be entered into Frugal Forest giveaways, where I just at random do a random number generator, and it selects a person, and I send that out. Frugal Forest gift to them, which I got another one coming here soon too, as well as on occasion I do, which I need to do another one soon, Frugal Forest, just exclusive videos just for them. So thank you again for listening to all this. Thank you, new subscribers, and thank you for all the ones that have stuck with me. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. We really do greatly appreciate that. It's been helping us do new and better content. And until next time, keep it frugal.